I'm the bad guy. I'm the, I'm the, I'm the bad.
Hello and welcome back to Across the Gridiron. I am Matt and I'm joined once again by my good friend Eddie Equo. Eddie, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, buzzing. Business time in the NFL is here, so we're gonna dig deep into that, guys. And welcome to the show. And always, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, the like button as well, and let us know. Join the conversation. We want to hear from you guys.
Absolutely, of course we do. But as you said, here we are, 272 matches later. It is time for the wild card weekend, the super wild card weekend, or whatever the hell they're calling it these days. The playoffs are here, Eddie. We have six matches to look at. We're going to give our predictions for each of them, and then we're going to continue with our scoring. Now, for those who have been watching us a while, we give our predictions pretty much every weekend, had a little bit of break over Christmas. And because of Christmas, we've completely forgot to tally up where we are with the scores. We have absolutely no idea. The one thing we can probably think about is likely is I am still in the lead, regardless of what happened. I think that's kind of where we're going to be.
But then again, I could have crept up. I have this sneaky feeling that I'm not that far off. You
I
know.
have I have an uneasy feeling too because over that last week, because over weekend 18, we didn't actually record anything, but we shared our results via WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I did daft things like bet on the Kansas City Chiefs, and of course, in Carson Wentz turned up. But look, but all is forgiven now. We've got six matches to talk through. This
We
is where it gets
do.
interesting. This is where it gets exciting. I've still got my Miami Dolphins cap on because it was the only one I had next to me. But the Cowboys are out of it, the Dolphins are out of it, but we're still here. We're still passionate. We're still looking forward to it. So. Forward to it. So let's just dive straight into it. So look, we start on Saturday with the LA Chargers versus the Houston Texans.
Yes.
Now, this is, it's just for a number of different reasons. But Eddie, I'll start with you. Where do you think this one's going to go?
Big game. First time coach, with the team, Jim Harbaugh coming in, taking the charges. And I think, you've got to look at the quarterbacks. I always tend to lean towards the quarterbacks when it gets to the playoffs because that's when the cream really rises to the top. So you've got Justin Herbert, who's the quarterback for the Chargers, and then you've got CJ Stroud, for the Texans. Um, I think that, the Chargers are a very good team, and I think coaching is what's gonna give it that slight edge. I think Harbaugh has already been in the NFL before. He's been to a Super Bowl. He understands what it means to be in the playoffs. You know, the Miko Ryan is slightly. I mean, they made the playoffs last season, but I don't think that when it comes to experience, I'll probably lean towards the Chargers. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers in this one just because I just slightly favor the coach and the quarterback, combination there.
Yeah, to be honest, I agree with you. I think this is probably. I mean, look, the Texans have had a great season. This is where it's going to get quite confusing because you're going against, the Texans are at home. They're the highest seed, but they've got similar records. Texans were 10-7, the Chargers were 11-6. But look, I agree. I think Stroud has had a bit of a fall off this season after a fantastic rookie season. Um, yeah, I'm with you. I think the quarterback the quarter play probably stronger coaching. I agree. I think the Chargers are going to come up on top out of this one. So yeah, I'm just going to keep agreeing with you. So just to make sure I can stay ahead. Uh, uh, right, but the next one's probably that on Saturday still again
Mm,
within the AFC. We've got the Steelers at the Ravens.
yeah.
Now, this is potentially going to be a crunch game for both of these guys.
Mm,
We've had the Steelers. We've been talking about Steelers for a while. We talked about the Ravens a lot as well. At
yeah.
one point we were talking about could the Steelers take a top two, maybe even top one position seed at
Yeah.
some point. They
Yeah.
didn't. this is kind of where they are where they are. And the Ravens, we've talked about Lamar being in MVP contention. We've
Yeah.
talked about Derrick Henry. Is he in the offensive player of the season contention? This was obviously a couple of months ago now, but the Ravens have always struggled at the Steelers, right? So where does your heart think with this one?
Um, this one, right? These two teams have split the results this season, right? Remember that game where it was just field goals, and
Hmm.
Justin Tucker decided that he wasn't going to kick field goals that day, or score field goals. So the Steelers ran out with that one, and then the Ravens, went and, demolished the Steelers. The Steelers have chosen a bad time to dip in form. I think the last four games, they've not won any. So which is not very good going into the playoffs. And I think momentum is the important thing when you're going to the playoffs. You want to land into the playoffs hot. And it seems like the Steelers have gone from Cinderella to pumpkin, in the last couple of weeks. And so I'm gonna go with the Ravens in this one. I think I like what's happening. They had a good week 18. They played a couple of starters, or were able to pull their starters, so they've got a bit of momentum. Derrick Henry looks like he's totally fine. I think the Ravens take this one. I think it will be close. I don't think it's a blowout or anything of that sort because these teams play themselves incredibly close. But I think the Ravens will just sneak it because they are capable of just that one extra play that would win the game.
Yeah, this one's a tough one for me too. I've been going back and forth in my head on this one. Probably more than any other on here in terms of where
Yeah,
where I see this one going because I think kind of my head is saying Ravens, my heart
yeah,
is saying Steelers. You know, although I'm wearing a Dolphins cap, Steelers are probably my second team only because of the links of my home city
yeah,
in Sheffield in the UK. Look, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think I'm gonna go for the Ravens. Steelers have had a fantastic season, right?
yeah,
Again, Tomlin has come up trumps again, another winning season. But again, if you've got Lamar on form, you've got Henry on form, that is going to be hard to stop. The Steelers have fallen away over the last couple of weeks because again, whether they've just momentum sort of run out, um, but yeah, they haven't traditionally been in the past season. They haven't been a good playoff team. I think that Lamar and Co have obviously this is where it gets great big about the playoffs. It's win or go home, isn't it?
yeah,
So these players have to show up now,
yeah.
and I think they've probably got more game changers in that team. I'd say at Baltimore than they do in Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson's had a fantastic season, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm going for Baltimore. So yeah, we're having a bit. Well, even keels for the Saturday. Um, let's move on to Sunday. Let's move on to Sunday now. The first one up is the Denver Broncos at the Buffalo Bills. Now, to be honest, I don't think we're going to differ too greatly in this one, so I'll just go first. It will be the Bills. Um, Allen's had a fantastic season. He is the MVP in my opinion, regardless of who wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic, and Denver have had an astounding season. Bo Nix has been incredible, incredible rookie season. A lot of people say, they're playing with house money now, because they've got nothing to lose. That's not how it works in the playoffs. You never ever want to lose a playoff game. They are going to go all out to win that game. Um, but I just think the Bills will be too strong.
Um, Listen, it should be the Bills, right? It should be the Bills. But there are things in the Bills that concern me, right, in this game. And, the Bills have stumbled in the playoffs, a couple of times, right? Normally, they usually stumble in front of Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, of course.
So, so you don't expect that they will stumble. But when I look at the two teams and I look at the defenses of the two teams, the Broncos actually have a better defense than the Bills. I think the Broncos are actually probably third in points per game allowed. They give up about 18 points, for each game. So it means that, if the Broncos can keep the score, sub 18, they might have a chance.
Hmm.
Now, the Bills will have to score a lot more than 18 in order to win this game because the Broncos can't keep the scores very low because of how good their defense is. So I'm gonna go with the Bills, but I say it should be the Bills because they have the better quarterback. And of course, like we've said, Josh Allen should be the MVP, of the season. But I do have this nervous feeling that the Broncos might do an upset, but I'm going to go with the Bills.
Yeah, well, I was hoping. I thought you were going to come out and say the Broncos, and I thought, oh, we're going to be a bit different. But yeah, no, I agree. I think Bills are the favorite. The Bills are the favorites. Um, they're the favorites until they get to the Chiefs, aren't they? And
Yeah.
then we're going to have to see. Um, but yeah, okay. On Sunday again, we have the Green Bay Packers at the Philadelphia Eagles. My two pence on this one. Eagles certainly seem to be the best place to challenge the Detroit Lions in the NFC. Green Bay again have had a great season. I'm just not as sold on them this season as I maybe was last. And I think that this is again going to be the Eagles who are going to take this one. And I want to get that in first because I know how much you love the Philadelphia Eagles. I know how you're desperate to actually put them forward. So I'll get it out the way. I'll go for the Eagles first.
Oh, listen, right. My bias is kicking here. I have to declare right up from the front because I've been looking for reasons to why the Eagles are going to lose this game, right? I've gone from the emotional letdown of Saquon Barkley not getting his, record in week 18. I've also gone for the fact that Jalen Hurts has been in concussion protocol, for the
Hmm.
last, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I've also gone for the fact that when this team played each other earlier on in the season, it was a very close game. And Josh Jacobs is a competent running back, for the Packers. He's right up there. He's a Pro Bowler as well, in the same with Saquon Barkley and Jameer Gibbs on the NFC side of things. So you look at that and say, on the running back, Saquon Barkley has been outstanding, but Josh Jacobs is no slouch, so they can run the ball basically. They've got some good wide receivers. And I think for me, it's going to come down to game planning, right? Who's going to game plan better? Now, um, I have this feeling that the Packers could do what they did to the Cowboys. And I know, last season, if you remember that game, they came out with an absolute pitch of a game plan to a superior team, in the Cowboys and basically took over the game. And I just feel like they've got that in their locker. So I managed to talk myself into saying that the Packers are gonna win this game because I think right from I started to lean towards the Lions ultimately getting to the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna go for the Packers to win this one.
Okay, interesting choice. I think the one thing that you important thing that you picked up on that I forgot to mention was obviously Jalen Hurts in concussion protocol.
Yeah,
Now, obviously, he is still integral to this team, him and Barkley. If, however, the prevailing thought is that he's going to be ready
they
for
should play.
for
I expect
Sunday.
them to play, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll be out, and it will give Philly a chance to, well, it will put Philly in a strong position. If this was the other way around and this game was at Green Bay, I'd be more tempted. I know you're thinking more of your heart than your head, which is fine for me. I'm
I
happy
want
to
them to
take.
implode, right? I want them to, the fact that they didn't go for Saquon Barkley's record and they don't get to the Super Bowl. I want to see how that's going to play out in the locker room.
Yeah, but when Barkley runs for 500 yards in this game, you'd be like, okay, okay. That they made the right decision to bench him.
Probably.
Um, Right, so now the last game on Sunday is this for me is one of the hardest to call. Again, it's the Washington Commanders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
This is a tough one to call. Another one of your divisional friends in the Washington Commanders against a Buccaneers team who have blown hot and cold this season. They've gone for winning streaks, they've gone to losing streaks, and back to winning streaks. But they've come into form at the right time. They had that feel good moment last week, giving Mike Evans that 11th season of 1,000 yards. So, but you've got Jalen Down as rookie of the season. I think in many people's case, Washington Commanders, you know, he's way ahead in a lot of people's estimations. So again, this is a really, really tough one to call. Where are you thinking this one going? I'll let you go first for this one.
So, I mean, the betting guys, the wise guys, are, putting this game, between 3 points of each other. So they're
Hmm.
thinking that this is a field goal type of game, because it's very difficult to separate those teams. Um, I'm gonna lean towards the Commanders. I know that after when we talked about the Bucks, were they capable of winning at least the playoff game? I did say yes. But that was before, all the seatings were done and everything like that, because I thought perhaps the Bucks would be playing somebody else. Um, but I feel like there's always a team in the playoff that surprises everyone, that no one, expects them to do anything. And I think in Commanders are that team. They're riding high on a rookie quarterback who's playing extremely well. They've got a good coach, Dan Quinn. McLaurin is a very, very good wide receiver. Um, and they've got a decent defense. So I think they're able to match the box. So I'm gonna lean towards the Commanders in this one.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, look, I don't disagree with anything you said there. I'm leaning the opposite way, and I'm leaning with Tampa purely well, for one reason to make this interesting, because why the hell not? It'll be boring if we all went for the same teams. Um, and yeah, I think you put a rookie QB in the playoffs. It can go one of two ways, as you said. Rise to the occasion. There's always a team that surprises. If Commanders do well, they would probably be that surprise package of the year. Um, Baker Mayfield, I think he's had a very good season. I kind of want to see him have a bit of a playoff run, if I'm honest. So maybe that's kind of where half my thinking is going. Again, Commanders were 12-5 throughout the year. Tampa Bay 10-7. Oh, I'll go for Buccaneers. Just again to keep this interesting, just to keep this is where I'm gonna be putting all these teams I'm not 100% sure in, and it's gonna turn up that you're actually gonna be like six ahead of me, and I'm cursing. I'm like, oh shit, I really should have thought about this a bit more. Like, a bit more. But yeah, okay. Well, let's go on to the last game, the Monday night game, which
Yeah.
is, of course, the Minnesota Vikings against the LA Rams. Now, obviously, the big thing about this is still very much up in the air in terms of where this game's actually going to be played,
Yes.
because obviously, as sure everyone knows, all the wildfires that are happening in LA at the moment.
Yeah.
If anyone watching this have any friends or family in LA, you
Yeah.
know,
I thought so. You
our
guys.
thoughts are definitely with you. So they do have the Cardinals Stadium as the backup
Yes.
location.
Yeah.
The plans are that it's going to be in LA, but at the moment, but with the situation forever changing, then yeah, we'll have to just see how that one goes. That aside, if we try and look at it from a pure footballing perspective, where do you see this one going?
This one was the most difficult one for me to sort of come up with because I look at the Vikings and I didn't like what happened in week 18, and maybe that's what started giving me a little bit of doubt. Now, going back to my default position of looking at the quarterback and the coach, and kind of leaning towards who's got a better combination. You look at the Rams, you've got a coach that has won the Super Bowl, a quarterback that have won the Super Bowl as well. And Rams are a very dangerous team. You don't want to get them in the playoffs because when they get into the playoffs, they actually play well. They're one of those teams that, tend to do that, which is a real shame, right? Because I thought the Vikings had a very great story into the season. You got the redemption for Sam Darnold, and you had potentially going to the number one seed. And I saw them, really get into the conference. But against the Rams, I'm having my doubts. I really am having my doubts. So I'm gonna go with the Rams in this one. My friend's gonna kill me because he's a Vikings fan. I know he's gonna watch this. But I just think that Sean McVay is a much better coach than Kevin O'Connell. And they've got a quarterback that has been here before and understands the pressure of playing in the playoffs. And they've got some good teams. They've got good players as well. So I think the only thing that can happen is if the Vikings get ahead in this game and then run the ball, right? And keep the ball out of because that's how you want to play teams like this. Keep them off the field and get ahead. But listen, the way I'll say this is I'm gonna pick the Rams, but I would not be disappointed if the Vikings won.
Well, I'm also going to pick the Rams, and I will be disappointed if the Vikings won because I'm picking the Rams, and that's how competitive we are. But no, I'm also going for the Rams. I agree. Look, the Vikings have had an incredible season. Darnold's had an incredible season. They've come second in a division that included the Lions and included the Packers. So three teams have gone through in that division to the playoffs.
Yeah.
They were a game away from becoming top seeds.
Mhm.
However, I agree with you. I didn't really like necessarily what we saw in that last game.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not going to go as far as saying weak mentality or any of that because that's unfair. But they're against a team now, as you said, who have been there, have been there, done it, they've got the rings to prove it. This is going to be incredibly tough, and I know I wanted to keep this purely on footballing reasons, but when you have an issue or a disaster like is happening in LA, that can galvanize a team.
Mhm.
Win it for the city.
Yeah.
Chargers will probably be having the same feeling as well. If it is in LA as well, that's an even bigger draw.
Yeah.
If it does get moved to Arizona, then obviously it might change things slightly. But I'm sticking with the fact that I'm sticking with the assumption it's going to be in LA. And I think the footballing reasons we've talked about, but also the just a general situation, I
Mhm.
think puts Vikings as a potential. So I'm also going. Sorry, Vikings. I'm also going for the Rams with
Yeah.
that one as well.
Sorry,
So
Tim.
no, absolutely. Well, look, so I think there's a couple. We've got six games there. We've got four of the same, and then two are different. And I think that's pretty much the. Or is it just one difference? Oh no, two different. So yeah,
No,
we've
two
both
different. Yeah.
we've both gone for the Chargers over the Texans. We've both gone
Yeah.
for the Ravens over the Steelers. We've both gone for the Bills over the Broncos. Sunday is going to be Saturday. Sunday. Well, Saturday's going to be really boring in that case for us. You've gone for the Eagles over the Pack. No, I've gone for the Eagles
No,
over the Packers, and you've gone for the Packers.
over the
I've gone for the
Eagles.
Bucks over the Commanders, and you've gone for Commanders, and we've both gone for the Rams. So look, I think that's going to make this interesting. I think it's fair to say. And look, player football is here. This is where the NFL really comes to life. Some amazing stories are going to happen over the next few weeks, and I'm looking forward to talking through it all with you, Eddie. I'm looking forward to sharing this with all the audience and our subscribers. And yeah, I'll let you take us home.
I have a question to ask you before we wrap up.
Oh,
In the
okay.
wild card, which quarterback do you think will play the best?
Ooh, you really
Well,
dropped that one on me.
Of all the quarterbacks, who do you think, so we've got CJ Stroud, Justin Herbert, Lamar, Russell Wilson, or Justin Fields. We got Josh
Well,
Allen, you've got Bo Nix, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, you've got Jaden Daniels, um, you've got what's his name now? Baker Mayfield. Then you've got Stafford, and then you've got Sam Donald.
I think it's these questions I find tough because it's all relative. Because
Yeah,
if Allen goes and posts like a 300-yard game, he's like,
yeah.
and okay. Well, he's obviously playing the best. But if Daniels goes and pulls 250 and he helps win the game, he's obviously maybe had more of a say on that game. It's maybe gone above his, you know, he outperformed himself. If you see what I mean.
Okay, so
And
let's
so, I
let
mean, I suppose who's going to perform better? It's going to
yeah.
be between Allen and Jackson because they are the two best quarterbacks, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
they're the two best quarterbacks in the playoffs at the moment. So you'd have thought it'd be on them. If you're looking at if we just look at the rookies, like who's going to be maybe the best rookie over Daniels and over Knicks. I mean, I've got them both losing the matches, so I can't.
But they could
I
lose and look good, right? They could
they could
lose,
lose and
yeah.
look good. I mean, look, who's going to perform better? I think Allen will probably post the most impressive numbers against the Broncos, but I think both the rookies will. I think Knicks will have a good game. Yeah, that's a real tough one to call. Well, you well, what's your thoughts?
Um, I I want to go with someone that no one's really looking at, and that's Stafford. You know, I I'm gonna go with him to be the overall quarterback that looks the best in this wildcard round. I think that, you know, Josh Allen and Lamar are going to be functional. They're going to help their teams to win, but then there's not going to be anything dazzling, about their play. Because I think for those two players, they're under a lot of pressure. The pressure is to get further, in the playoffs. And I don't think it's going to be about, being, putting it on their backs and letting them, go and dominate. I think the coaches will just want to win the game and make sure that you minimize the amount of errors. So that's kind of how I'm thinking. So I think Stafford is going to play free. He's doesn't have the added pressure. He's not a rookie. So that's the reason why I'm going for a Stafford to look the best.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you used the word functional to describe two of the top MVP candidates, which is a bit harsh. But I suppose the argument in agreement to you is that I don't think I think that Allen and Jackson can just be functional
Yeah,
in that game and they can still win.
yeah.
Whereas I think a lot, yeah, again to your point, I think the likes of Stafford he's going to have to play exceptional. You'd have thought to beat a very strong Vikings team. You've got Daniels and Knicks are going to have to play exceptionally well to make sure they win or at least come. And in Denver's case, come close to Buffalo.
Mhm.
So, and I think, as I said, this is playoff football now. There's no there's no
It's
test
lose and go
snaps.
home.
Exactly. This is lose or go home. We come. All right. Well, it'll be a long 8 months if you lose this game, right? So a lot of
Nope.
these quarterbacks are gonna have to go out and perform perform miracles, but are really gonna have to go and really sort of show up. So I think I agree with you from that point. But in terms of pure numbers, I think it will probably in terms of the numbers, it will probably be Jackson or Allen. In terms of the memories, it could well be Stafford or one of the rookies. But yeah, so look, as I said, looking forward to talking through playoffs with you for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Really exciting time for all NFL fans, even the ones like me and Eddie, whose team have been knocked out already.
Yeah.
But Eddie, look, you take us home, my friend.
Yes, so playoff football is here. This is all about, pulling on your big boy pants. This is where it all matters, right? Everything that you've done for the season, it comes down to these games, right? This is where legends are created. This is where legacies are built, dynasties are built, on the playoffs, and we're here for it, right? And across the gridiron. So, guys, stick with us. We'll be bringing content to you, on the playoffs. Don't forget to like and subscribe, on the channel and, join in the conversation as well. Let us know what you guys think about our picks. Who do you guys go for and who do you think will come out on top in the playoffs? But until the next one, enjoy the playoffs because we will.
I'm the bad guy. I'm the